Okay, so let's talk about perfection.
Perfection.
Where does it come from? Now, if we think about this world that we live in and all the concepts that we have, everything has its comparison. Every concept has its manifestation in some form, but it seems as though perfection doesn't, and that just doesn't follow suit with this universe. Because every idea came from somewhere. It came from some kind of comparison that that idea was made based off of. So where did perfection come from? Now I'm going to ask a little bit of a personal question. Would you consider yourself to be perfect? I think there might be very few people in this world that would answer yes to that question. And the ones that would answer yes would be lying, which in turn would make them imperfect. So let me ask you a quick question. Can perfection arise or be created by imperfection? The obvious answer here is no. That just doesn't make sense. Perfection cannot be created by imperfection. So us as imperfect, flawed, messed up beings, we couldn't have even come up with the concept of perfection. We couldn't have even come up with the concept of perfection, much less be its comparison. But seeing as we would all agree that there is a concept of perfection in this universe, there has to be something it compares to. There has to be something it compares to, and in turn created that concept. Now let's talk about the personality of perfection.
Put the pieces into the slot, make the right selection. But be quick, you're racing the clock. Wow! Goes perfection.
And you might think that's weird, but you'll get where I'm going with this. If something is perfect, then it must have perfect existence. Then it must have perfect existence, which would lend to the idea that this perfection has a personality. I mean, look at us. We have personalities, we have the ability to reason, but for us to say that perfection doesn't have those abilities would be to say that we're better than perfection.
Can you explain that to me?
So perfection must have a personality because it has perfect existence.
And what the hell does that mean?
Now, perfection must be eternal. Why? Right back to the concept of perfect existence. What would be a perfect temporal existence? It would be an existence not restrained by time. Why? Therefore, perfect temporal existence would be the exact opposite of temporal existence. It would be atemporal existence. It would be eternity. Not restrained by time.
Everything was normal, and then suddenly it's like the laws of physics went right out the window.
And why shouldn't they? They're so inconvenient.
Now this perfection would have to be all-knowing. Perfect knowledge. And this perfection must be all-powerful. Perfect power. All-authoritative. Perfect authority, and the list would go on and on and on. Now this perfection could be the only one of its kind. Why, you ask? Let's think this through a little bit. If you had two perfections, now we already know that two conscious beings can't be exactly alike. That's just common sense. Now, if we have these two perfections, they're gonna do something differently, at least something differently, because they have two separate consciouses or personalities. And if they both do two different things, one's gonna be more perfect than the other, which will make the other one not perfect at all. So we've arrived at this concept that perfection just exists alone. Nothing else is perfect other than the one single perfection. Must have a personality, must be eternal, must have all knowledge, must have all power, and etc., and there can be only one of its kind. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to monotheism.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.